Let's get it. Cody has now taken a position that he has been treated unfairly in polygamy. Polygamy is not for men. It doesn't treat men well. Women take full advantage of these relationships because apparently, in Cody's mind, these women, Christine, Mary, and Janelle, they had all the power. They were able to manipulate the situation to their best advantage, and they were able to get from these situations the resources, the love, and attention that they wanted. Polygamy was unfair to him. He's the one who suffered, not these women or these kids. Cody is the one who had to subject himself to the unfair treatment of having multiple wives and having all this responsibility forced upon him. Now, per usual, if you guys are enjoying the content, go ahead, give me that thumbs up. Let a player know that you like what I'm doing. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Around these parts, around chat, we call that the HBO special, which stands for Help a Brother Out Special, by clicking that subscribe button, ringing the bell for notifications, and you will be notified when I upload content just like this, as well as when I go live. I try to go live multiple times a week, and I want you guys to know what's happening. Also, check out the Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Now, let's get it. Now, like I said, I wanted to talk about the issue that Cody brings up where he talks about the fairness in polygamy. According to Cody, in this People magazine article, because you know Cody did that exclusive interview with People, he said this: Cody Brown used to think polygamy was unfair because I never felt like I could get out, but his wives could. What? Cody never felt like he had the freedom of movement, but these women could decide whether they want to be in a relationships or not. Yeah, that makes total sense, and that definitely does not track with anything we watched on the Sister Wives program. And to be honest with you, Sister Wives program, for those old heads out there, Sister Wives program is the equivalent of Hogan's Heroes to an actual German POW camp. They turned it into the polygamy propaganda program where they give us the best thing where it looks kind of cool, looks kind of fun, and hey, this has nice people in it. Everybody gets along and everybody's looking up for one another, and you can get the best thing that you want because you can get in these relationships and be all you can be. But if you watch any other program where they talk about this, specifically fact-based documentaries, they reveal that polygamy is nothing like what they portrayed on Sister Wives. In fact, there's a thing from Sarah Howe from Reality T and I think Backwoods Barbie Amanda. They both came out with videos regarding or talking about Cody's nephew, who started to reveal, basically built a whole comedy career talking about the unfair treatment, mistreatment, and realistically rubber road abuse that occurs in these types of sects, cults, and religions. So when we talk about Sister Wives, is it unfair to the man involved? It's not fair to anybody. Now, speaking about the article, Cody had this to say. He says, calling his eventual split with Christine, Janelle, and Mary Brown a negotiation, Cody told People that he's chosen to settle into whatever life continues to give me. Now that they've chosen not to be in it. So essentially, I'm the victim because these women chose not to be with me, and I'm going to continue to be the victim because I'm going to allow life to happen to me. I'm going to deal with whatever life chooses to give me. I'm just going to take it. That's a loser mentality off rip. You have to write your own story. You have to write your own history. You can't sit there. If you don't write your history, this is what I tell my kids all the time. If you don't write your history, somebody else will. And you don't want nobody else handling that pen. You want to write your own story. You want to take control of your life. You want to determine what you want out of life and go get it. And if you sit around and let life happen to you, it will never turn out good for you. Because that's just not how life is built. Life is built to kick your ass up between your shoulder blades. It's not built for comfort. This bad boy is built for speed. It's not built for comfort. It's like a Ferrari. The next thing that was funny to me is when he calls it a negotiation. How was it negotiated? At what point did you negotiate any type of breakup? You didn't even really negotiate your relationships. You told them, or at least sold them a bill of goods, and then pulled the old bait and switch. Women have independence. They can be strong. They can make decisions for themselves. You don't have to be here if you don't want to be here. But then the problem is try to leave. What happened when you tried to leave? He tried to do everything in his power to keep him from going. And some people will say, well, that's natural. That's a normal thing. It's not natural and it's not normal for you to financially destroy somebody, financially hobble somebody to prevent them from leaving. It's not normal. What he did to them was the equivalent of, yeah, you can leave. I got you living up in the mountains somewhere. You can leave, but I'm going to take your shoes and I'm going to flatten all your tires. So you have to walk down this mountain. If you want to leave me, you got to walk out of here. And I know it's going to be insanely impossible for you to do that. So now you're going to stay. I guess you chose to stay. You didn't choose to stay. You were forced into that situation. He went on to say, as his plural marriage inched closer to its demise, Kody Brown admits he began to believe that polygamy was unfair until he reframed his mindset into something more positive. He started to think, when he was complaining about, polygamy might not be fair, that's him trying to be progressive and open-minded, so him trying to think to the benefit of his wives. I guess it's not fair because I get to go to all these women's houses and these other ladies are complaining. They're complaining all the time about me not spending time with them, so maybe it's not fair. But then he starts to come around to it in this. In an exclusive conversation with People, the Sister Wives star 55 revealed that he first concluded that plural marriage was completely unfair after much thought, much reflection, much prayer, and a long discussion with friends. He added, there is not disparity in fairness if there's not disparity in choice. Stop right there. Your biggest problem is, from what I can see, is not just him sitting there thinking to himself or reflecting to himself or praying. Praying is good. You know, it's a way for you to meditate, way for you to center yourself and get yourself grounded. I have no issues with that. But long discussions with friends, who are you talking to? That's the biggest problem. Who are you talking to? Because if you're sitting around talking to a bunch of misogynist idiots, then they're going to give you misogynistic, idiotic viewpoints that are not going to help you move forward and not going to help you build relationships with your wives. They can't go nowhere. They women's. Women's don't make no good decisions. They need mans in their life. That's the type of conversation that Cody's been having. Is you listen to him talk on Mormonism Live, you listen to him talk during the confessionals, you listen to him talk in many of the interviews and discussions that he has. Most of it is centered around the idea that men are logical, women are emotional, men are able to make decisions, women are not able to make decisions, men are equipped to be able to deal with real life, women deal in fantasy. So therefore, if a man tells you that this relationship needs to continue and this relationship needs to be what it is and this is how it needs to be carried out, these ladies are supposed to listen to this man because he is the one who is logical, intellectual, and is rooted in reality. Whereas these women are dealing with fantasies. The reality of the situation, though, is that these women are dealing with reality because they are dealing with the real life consequences of being in these relationships. Where Cody would go out and he would marry a wife and he'd have issues or problems with a wife, or he would have issues and problems with the kids, he would just get up, go to the next house, and not deal with the problems, leaving these women to deal with these issues. When they got pregnant and they had to figure out how to take care of the babies and take care of themselves and make sure that everything is moving forward in their houses, he put it on them to deal with those consequences. As an example, when Christine had to go to work, Cody wouldn't even come down and check on the kids to make sure the kids were in bed. That was on Christine to figure out. You got to figure out how to get your ass to work. You got to figure out how to make sure your kids are safe and everything is taken care of. And when I come over, I fully expect you to be off, be available, and be ready to either pleasure me or make it convenient for me to be there. That's Cody's mindset. And to him, that was completely fair. Because they have a choice. The idea that it's not disparity in fairness if there's not disparity in choice. There is disparity in choice. Because while they're in these relationships, they have no choice. But they get to choose whether they want to be in a relationship. This is quintessentially victim blaming at this point. This is him saying that if you chose to do this, then it's your fault. You chose to be in these relationships, but they're contributing to a institution that's been formed to oppress them. So how much actual choice do they have? This is something in Christine and Mary's perspective they were born into. This is stuff that they learned over the course of the years by watching their parents. He went on to say in this article, and it's not much more, it wasn't until his marriages imploded that he removed himself from thinking it was unfair. So it wasn't until these women decided they could actually opt out of these relationships, he stopped thinking it was unfair. Oh, it was completely unfair that I get everything I want, like a nice car, I get all the money, I have them basically working for me and fulfilling my needs. I guess this isn't fair. How benevolent of you. How kind of you to recognize that it wasn't unfair. I feel bad I have you doing all this work. Anyway, go make me a sandwich, bring me something cold to drink, and get back to work. That's not, you're not a forward-thinking person. He went on to say this. He said, Janelle, Mary, Christine, even Robin have their choice whether they stay in this relationship or not, he explained. Not now that they've chosen not to be in it, that choice has been made. Then I settle into whatever life continues to give me. So they all get to choose, and I had to sit here and suffer. Woe is me. I'm the victim. He's continually trying to make himself the victim, because if he's the victim, then he's not the one who was mistreating or mishandling these women. He's a victim too. I'm with y'all. It was bad for me as well. There's also a point where he says, confessing he previously felt he could never get out of these relationships, Cody said he had different standards for his wives. Meaning that they could get out, he didn't feel he could leave. This is one of the stories that he was telling as to why he was stringing Mary along. Oh, according to my code of conduct and my ethics, I don't believe that I could actually leave a wife, that I have to stick around. Men don't have that choice. You surely do. You surely do, because you may not have physically abandoned these women, but you emotionally abandoned them, you sexually abandoned them, you mentally abandoned them, you weren't concerned with their, psychologically you abandoned them, you weren't dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, you would just come by the house to pick up your check. This is like mobsters when they come in and they have to give you the protection money. Oh, now we're partners. But they never show up to work. They never put any expense in the liabilities, paying people, making sure that the lights stay on, making sure that the shelves are full, or the merchandise is there, or the service is being performed, that whatever the business is. They're just there to take the checks out. And apparently that qualifies you as a partner somehow, some way. And that's pretty much what I see with Cody. Like he's there when the TLC check comes in and he needs an endorsement for that check, or he wants to take a home loan out and he needs somebody to sign off on something so that he can get some benefit. Then here he comes. Hey guys, we're all in it together. But the second work is required, or there's responsibility that has to be taken, then it's all on these ladies. He goes on to say this. He says, I always felt like my wives had the opportunity to get out, he continues. Technically, our breakups, mine and Mary's, mine and Christine's even, with all my bitterness and frustration with it, it was technically a negotiation. We negotiated a breakup. How did you negotiate a breakup? You mistreated these ladies and then you left it to them to figure it out, and you call that a negotiation? You told Christine that you're no longer going to come by and have a full marriage with her, and from that point, that was your first, I guess, your first bid to say like, okay, what do you come back with? And what do you, here's what I'm going to do. You're going to move my stuff out. Okay, if you move my stuff out, I'm never going to come around. Oh, I'm never going to come around? Okay, I'm never going to come around, now you're going to talk about you don't want to be with me anymore. Negotiation over. It was a success. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not a negotiation. That was cowardice. If he didn't want to be in these relationships, he should have just came out and said, look, I don't want to be in this relationship. It's not working out. You're under no obligation to be with somebody who you don't want to be with. And that's on all points. There is fairness because everybody in this situation has a choice. The same way these ladies had the courage to just simply say, look, if you don't want to be in a full marriage with me, I don't want to be in a marriage with you. I don't want to be in a partial marriage. I don't want to be in a pity relationship. I don't want you feeling like you are obligated to come around. If you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. That's courage. For him to sit there and say that drape abuse and neglect as a code of honor is ridiculous and it's repugnant at its source. He went on to say this, and this will be some of the last things we're rounding out. It's been dark. It's been a dark time, but I'm moving forward. I'm looking at these women with forgiveness, with love, with kindness. We're going to be connected for the rest of our lives because of our children. The best we can do is be kind to each other. When he talks about being kind and throwing the kids in there, what he's talking about is, I need you guys to help me recondition my image, because most of the people, I want to be a TV star, and most of the people who subscribe to the show, or most of the people who are fans of the show, don't like me. And I need you guys to make it okay for me to be on TV. I need you guys to give me that permission, because what he's seeing, I think that when he's doing this interview for people, I think Kody is afraid. Kody is afraid that he's rounding out of his life as a reality star, and now he has to try. He's desperately trying to find a way to fill that void, to fill those spaces, fill that gap, so that he can continue his profession as a reality star. Kody isn't in love with these people. He's angry with these people because they chose to leave. Part of the reason why I think he was holding on to them as desperately as he was is because he saw that as an opportunity for him to keep the show. He realized that he can't keep the show. Robin and Kody haven't had any type of interviews or anything regarding their lives or anything going on in their household for at least 3 or 4 seasons. Technically, if you really think about it, they've never really had anything. Since Robin had Kody adopt the kids, they don't really talk about the inner goings-ons in the house. They don't talk about their issues, their problems, their successes, their failures. They don't talk about any of that. They have like the little stupid, I'm going to take a 19-year-old girl down to get her ears pierced, isn't this cute, type segues. But they don't have anything real in this situation. So from that respect, they needed the other people because they provide the distraction, they provide the storylines, they provide the actual show. Finally, this is what Kody had to say, and this is where I'm going to wrap it up. It is sad, he admitted. It is heartbreaking. You're looking for answers in a state of confusion. Once again, the only answer you can make if you want to have a good relationship is moving forward with a lot of charity. A lot of charity. A lot of charity. He wants these women to make it okay. One of the things that he did, and even admittedly so on the Mormonism Live podcast, that he admitted to doing this, he recognizes that by having these ladies support him, it makes his bad behavior okay. By pushing them forward and saying that they support polygamy, that they were the drivers of polygamy, that they actually are the ones who benefit from polygamy, and polygamy is providing everything they need, it takes all the heat and all the pressure and all the eyes off of Kody as a person who is running the polygamy, the hidden hand behind the institution of polygamy, and the oppression of polygamy, and the abuse that's associated with polygamy. It takes all the pressure off of him because they're doing it to themselves. I'm not doing it. I'm just merely standing in this part. I'm standing in this slot. I'm standing in the role. And so it's them who are doing it to them. And that's what he needs. He needs that charity. He needs them to come out and give him the thumbs up, tell the community and the world that he's a great father and that he's hyper involved, even if he never goes by and sees the kids. I think that's the secondary portion of why he wanted to have a 50-50 agreement with Christine, a document saying that he gets truly 50% of the time. One, first and foremost, and I stand on this because I've heard it a few times in the little manosphere spaces, that is his belief or their belief that if a man has, or a non-custodial parent, we'll take it there, a non-custodial parent has a child 50% of the time, they don't have to pay child support. They're not financially responsible for the child. That's the first reason why I think he wanted it. The second reason why I think he wanted it is because he wants to be able to present that as an argument when people say that you don't have anything to do with these kids, you don't have nothing to do with her, you barely see her. He can pull up his little paper and say, no, I have her 50% of the time. I'm responsible for half the time. What are you talking about? I'm a great father. I'm always here. And that piece of paper is supposed to reflect the idea or notion that he's always around, even though physically he may never see truly. He might go months, if not a year or two, without ever seeing her. But he has that paper. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's my take. And this has been My Take on Reality. And I'm out.
Like I could just die any minute, go for a ride down the side,